Hello guys, welcome to my channel. Today, I'm going to be talking about a little discussion I had with one of my clients' inner children. Watch this video. Hello guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new, please click the little subscribe button and the bell to receive notifications when I release new videos. And if you've been with me for a while, thank you so much and welcome back. I'm really excited to share this experience I had with a client. She told me it's okay, so I'm going to share this. I do this exercise with many of my clients called an inner. And if those of you that don't know, I don't tell a lot of people this because some people think it's weird or whatever, but then you start working with me and you're like, whoa, what's that? So I do have this ability called clairsentience and also clairvoyance. And so when we do the inner, because my gift is insight, when I go within, I can pinpoint ages that need to come forward to be healed, certain things that happen at your lifetime at a certain age, certain identities you had at a certain time or what you thought about yourself. And I become a safe space for my clients to trust as we go in. And so in this situation, it was beautiful. I've worked with this woman for a couple of years now. She's in her 60s. And when she first came to me, she came to me because she said she hates her inner child. And that wasn't the reason she came. But as she started seeing we were going to do inner child work, she's like, see, this is my thing. Like I get stuck here because I hate her. And I was like, well, that's not really the case, but don't worry about that right now. Let's just figure this out. And as we started working together, I started noticing her getting vulnerable over time, more in touch with her emotions, more in touch with her reality in this really beautiful way that I could tell she was shifting and up-leveling. And so I said, you're ready. Are you ready to do this inner with me? And she's like, I am. I want to understand this. So before we started, she was telling me that her opinion, by the way, I had told her months ago that you can't be mad at your inner child. Your inner child did exactly what she needed to do to cope with her circumstance. And you have to understand that she saved you from XYZ. And she did understand that, but she couldn't understand this hatred. She thought she was ugly and bad. I said, okay, we're going to do this inner and we're going to see what happens. And by the way, you don't have to worry about anything. I'm going to guide you through it. So we closed her eyes together and I got her into her safe space, breathing, creating the environment through senses, through smells, through what's around, what reminds you of you, this safe, beautiful space that we create together. And when I know she's ready, I welcome in her inner child. And what was so cool about this situation, and this is why I'm doing this video, because we have to understand that the inner child is the key, because the inner child holds the true wisdom. That is the only thing that does, right? So contacting the inner child is really important. And I'm telling you this for context for a reason. So we go in, and of course, she's just kind of like, She goes, okay. She arrived very quick, actually. I said, okay. I go, and I felt this resistance, and I just knew she wasn't going to talk to her. She's like totally resistant to her inner child. I said, is it okay if I come in there with you? She's like, oh, yes, please do, right? So I come into her experience with her, and I said, can you tell me where we're at? She says, well, I'm at the head of the bed, and each of you guys are on a different side in the end. I'm like, awesome. She's like, I don't want to look at her, though. I'm like, that's okay. Is it okay with you if I put my arm out for her to come towards me? She's like, yeah, she's coming to you, right? So she sits on my lap, and I face my client with her on my lap. So we're facing her, and I go, don't forget, I have her back. I'm supporting her, but don't forget, she is you. I'm in full support of you. You are not separate, even though you want to believe that you are. So this inner child was quite a different energy than my client. This inner child was really patient, and she was really innocent and really pure, like my client is. But I could tell, like, she was really trusting and tolerant of things. She was just like very going with the flow. It was really amazing. And my client got the same hit. So it was really kind of cool, right? And so I said, can you look at her in her eyes? And she says, no, I can't. I said, okay, then just look at me. And we held space for each other, and all of a sudden her inner child started talking to me. I said, well, I have a message. She's like, what? I go, she asked me if you can take one step towards her so you can feel what it feels like to be a little bit closer to who you truly are. And that was emotional, right? She's like, okay. Yeah, and as she came closer to who she truly is, she got this hit. Wait, it's not that I hate her, that she's ugly. I'm afraid of her. I get scared. I get scared when I come closer to who I truly am, my inner child. And I said, of course you do. And sit with that insight. And she sat with that insight. And then she said, first of all, the inner child said, it's okay as long as it takes. So she didn't feel any pressure or anything. And she goes, you know what's interesting? I realize I am her. Now we know that, right? But she got that hit, that understanding. I am her. Wait a minute. And then when she realized that she is this love and light and innocent energy, she said, my mother wouldn't let me be that shiny, innocent, pure, happy girl because it would trigger her. She was jealous of me. So to fit in with my family and to have any role with my mother, I had to take that scapegoat role of I'm bad, I'm what's wrong, I'm not good enough. And if I would take that, she would feel okay. Insecure mother, right? So this happened to many of us who are scapegoat children, right? So whatever your story is, but for her, she got clear. And she goes, oh my gosh, I had to put her in prison to be safe. So obviously she's not going to come out for me just because. And she started having this insight. And I said, and she's still there. And for you to stay safe, to stay connected to your family, has ultimately cost you having any family in your adult life. She's 60. She's never gotten married. She's never had children. She wonders about that. So to be who you truly are, you might find the love of your life next year and have some stepkids. But right now, if you want to stay loyal to the people that made you disloyal to self, you can do that, but I suggest you don't. And there was a moment in there, and we had this really interesting experience where she said, wait a minute, I understand why I'm so afraid of myself now. I go, of course you're afraid of your own light. Of course you're afraid of being that. Because if you be who you truly are, you are rejected by mom and you have no role in the family. Take that in, see how many of you relate to that. So we got out of the inner, we opened our eyes, and she says, why do I all of a sudden feel like this relief, like this peace? I said, because you're letting your inner child out of prison. You don't have to be afraid. And we don't like things we're afraid of. Now you can start to love her. No pressure. Just stay there for now. We'll do the next thing next week. But it was this miraculous, incredible experience. And she says, what do I do now? I said, all you have to do now is remember you're not separate. She is the gift of you. If you can feel less and less afraid of being who you are, because you realize now that it's safe to own you regardless of them. Because not owning you has not gotten you what you wanted in life, but it's kept your mother safe. Do you want to keep your mother safe or be loyal to your own soul? I want you guys to think about this. Think about how you feel about your inner child. Do you need to give her or him a voice? Is there something else you can drop into to get a little bit further on your journey? Because when we do these inners, or when we sit with ourselves in a safe place and welcome your inner child forward, just see how you feel. I don't suggest doing the entire exercise on your own. I suggest doing it with a practitioner of sorts who masters in this stuff. But I want you to have that thought about how wise and amazing and perfect your inner child is, and who made you leave that inner child, and how you can call her or him back in. If you have questions and comments about this, please go ahead and put them in the comment section. Also, because I have to do this because I'm so excited. When I talk about this, I get chills, so I know this is just like the mother load. But my new course, I Am Worthy, is open for enrollment. I based that course on all of this. A lot of these stories are in the course. I have a 30-day integration plan at the end of the 12 weeks, so you can integrate your worth from inside out. There's many, many stories about my life that you haven't heard yet because I just went through them all to be able to put them into the course because I mastered them. Anything about trauma bonds is in there. Anything about withdrawal symptoms is in there. Anything about abandonment wounds is in there. Looking externally to an external God for signs. We got to talk about that. That's in there. How to link up with self regardless of conditions, regardless of people, opinions, other people's emotions. We learn how to be totally loyal to our soul when we can anchor our worth. One other thing I want to mention here is so many of you who have inner child wounds and don't know your true worth, you get mad at yourself when you can't keep it. It was never fully anchored if you can't keep it. What it means is you finally got a positive mirror outside yourself, and then that mirror left, and then you lost it again. So we're going to talk about finding positive mirrors now that are actually going to be solid and stable. We stop depending on undependable things. So guys, all of that information is below. I Am Worthy, it is called. Questions and comments, please leave them below. Love you guys. I'll see you next week.